Dr. Sarah Chen entered the operating room and everything seemed normal. A routine heart surgery, an experienced surgeon, a successful hospital. But when she saw the old scars on the patient's chest, her hands began to shake because she recognized those scars. 15 years ago, in the middle of Afghanistan, after a bomb attack, she had stitched those wounds herself as a young army medic. But this patient being alive was impossible, because that day, in that tent, she had watched that wounded soldier die. Welcome to Human Stories. Before we begin this tale of memory, medicine, and miraculous reunions, tell me in the comments where you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, hit that subscribe button and help us keep these voices alive. Dr. Sarah Chen was the youngest chief of cardiothoracic surgery at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. At 32, she was brilliant, determined, and a perfectionist. She had graduated valedictorian from UCLA Medical School, specialized at Johns Hopkins, and had saved hundreds of lives in Los Angeles over the past 8 years. Monday morning, 6:30 a.m., she arrived at the hospital. As always, she drank her coffee, reviewed patient files, checked the day's surgical schedule. 3 operations were on the agenda, 2 routine, 1 more complex. Third patient, Marcus Rodriguez, 38 years old, former soldier, heart failure. Sarah glanced at his file. Referred from Veterans Administration, it read. ICD implantation required. History of PTSD, proceed with caution. Sarah saw these types of cases often. Former soldiers, war wounds, mental trauma. She felt a special empathy toward them because she knew what war meant. Nobody knew, but Dr. Sarah Chen had served as an army medic in Afghanistan before medical school. 2008 to 2009. At 18, young, going without knowing what war meant, returning as a completely different person, but she never shared those stories with anyone at the hospital. The past should stay in the past. Marcus Rodriguez arrived at the hospital at 8 a.m. His wife Maria and 12-year-old son David were with him. Marcus looked tense. Hospitals always made him uneasy. Too much white, too much steel, too much disinfectant smell. It reminded him of the field hospital in Afghanistan. Everything will go fine, Dad, David said. Dr. Chen is a very good doctor. Marcus smiled at his son. I know, buddy. Just a little nervous. Maria held his hand. You've waited 15 years for this surgery. Now your heart will work properly. Marcus nodded. 15 years. His heart had been beating irregularly since then, since he returned from Afghanistan, after that bomb attack. He almost died that day. But a young army medic saved him. A girl named Sarah. Very young, very determined, very brave. Marcus never forgot that girl, because she had given him a second life. When Dr. Sarah Chen entered the operating room, everything was ready. Her assistants, anesthesia technician, nurses. The team was experienced, reliable. Sarah had performed hundreds of these surgeries. Give me information about our patient, Sarah said. Marcus Rodriguez, 38, former soldier. Heart failure, arrhythmia. We're doing ICD implantation. Anesthesia ready, EKG stable, the head nurse reported. Good, let's begin. Marcus was placed on the operating table. Anesthesia was administered. Unconsciousness came. Sarah put on her gloves, scrubbed in. A routine procedure. It would take at most 2 hours. The chest area was clean, draped. Sarah took the scalpel. First incision, skin layers, access to muscle tissue. Everything was going as planned until she opened the chest cavity. When Dr. Sarah Chen opened the chest cavity, the first thing she saw wasn't the heart. It was old wounds, very old, healed but distinct. On the left side of the chest, a few centimeters from the heart, bullet fragment traces. On the right side, metal fragment marks from bomb shrapnel. And those stitches. Sarah's hands began to shake. She recognized those stitches because she had sewn those stitches herself 15 years ago in Afghanistan after a bomb attack. Doctor, is there a problem? The assistant asked. Sarah couldn't answer. Her eyes were focused on the wounds. Those wounds, that stitch pattern, the structure of that healing tissue. She remembered everything, as if it happened yesterday. 2009, March. They were stationed near Kandahar. Sarah was a young medic, 19 years old. That day, their convoy was hit by an IED attack. Many wounded, very little time. One soldier was critically wounded, named Marcus. Shrapnel in his chest, heart in danger. Sarah had worked on him for 6 hours that night. She remembered every stitch, every intervention. Sarah. Marcus had whispered her name while dying. Don't leave me. But Sarah couldn't save him. His heart stopped. Breathing ceased. She lost her first patient that night. That night came alive in Sarah's mind. March 15, 2009, Kandahar Base, Afghanistan. The convoy left at 8 a.m. routine patrol, routine security check. Sarah was with the convoy as a medic, 19 years old, enlisted to gain military experience before medical school. The attack came at 2 p.m. IED, improvised explosive device, roadside bomb. The first vehicle took heavy damage. Medic! Medic! Screams came from everywhere. Sarah ran. 3 soldiers were in the first vehicle. 1 died, 1 lightly wounded, 1 critically wounded. Marcus Rodriguez, 23 years old, from Texas. Large shrapnel in his chest, massive blood loss. Hey, look at me, Sarah said. What's your name? Marcus Rodriguez ... He was struggling to breathe. Marcus, I'm Sarah. I'm going to save you, okay? Sarah worked quickly. She had to remove the shrapnel, but it was very risky. Too close to the heart. 1 wrong move and Marcus would die. The surgery lasted 6 hours. In a field hospital with insufficient materials, under stress, Sarah gave everything. She carefully placed every stitch, meticulously performed every intervention. But it wasn't enough. Marcus's heart stopped. She performed CPR, used the defibrillator, gave medications. Nothing worked. At 3:30 a.m., Marcus Rodriguez died. Sarah cried hard that night. He was the first patient she lost, and he wouldn't be the last. War was merciless. But now, 15 years later, that patient was lying on the operating table, alive, breathing, heart beating. Dr. Chen, the assistant's voice brought Sarah back to the present. Doctor, are you okay? Sarah nodded. Yes, I'm sorry. But she wasn't okay. Her world was turned upside down. How was this possible? Marcus Rodriguez had died. That night in that tent, on that table, his heart had stopped. Breathing had ceased. Sarah had checked herself. Maybe it was someone else. Maybe someone else with the same name. But those wounds, those stitches, it was impossible. Let's continue with the surgery, Sarah said. But her hands were still shaking. Placing the ICD device was now more difficult, because every tissue she touched, every wound she saw, took her back 15 years, as if she was operating on the same patient for the second time. 2 hours later, the surgery was complete. The ICD was successfully placed. Marcus's heart began beating regularly, vital signs stable. It was a successful operation. But Sarah's mind was confused. When Marcus opened his eyes in the recovery room, the first thing he saw was Dr. Sarah Chen's face. Young, beautiful, worried. Something seemed familiar, but he wasn't sure. Hello, Marcus, Sarah said. The surgery was successful. How do you feel? Good, I think. A little dizzy. Marcus's voice was hoarse. Doctor, what was your name again? Dr. Sarah Chen. Marcus paused. Sarah, I feel like I've heard that name before. Sarah's heart raced. Maybe you have, it's a common name. But Marcus kept looking. Doctor, have you ever done military medicine? Sarah was surprised. Why do you ask? I don't know, something seems familiar. Your voice, your face, like I've seen you before. Maybe you're thinking of someone else, but there was a light of recognition in Marcus's eyes. Afghanistan. Were you in Afghanistan? Sarah's breath caught. Marcus. Oh my God, Marcus's eyes widened. You're that young medic, Sarah, the Sarah who saved me. Marcus, calm down, Sarah said, your heart. No, you're that girl, 2009 in Kandahar, after that bomb attack, the one who operated on me for 6 hours. Marcus started crying. Sarah, I never forgot you. Sarah was crying now too. But you died. Your heart stopped. I lost you. I did die, Marcus said. For 3 minutes I was dead. But then I came back. Another doctor came, resuscitated me. You saved me, Sarah, but you didn't see what happened after. Sarah was shocked. How? I thought I lost you. Number, you saved me. If you hadn't worked on me for those 6 hours, I would have definitely died. You bought me time. When the other doctor arrived, I was still alive, thanks to you. Sarah's world spun again. She had been wrong for 15 years. She had blamed herself for 15 years. She thought she lost her first patient, but she'd actually saved him. Marcus, is it really you? Yes, Sarah, I'm that young soldier, and you're my guardian angel. That evening, Marcus's family came to the hospital, Maria and David. Sarah told them about their husband's father's story, what happened in Afghanistan that night, her own doubts. So my dad is alive because of you? David asked. Yes, son, Marcus said. Without Dr. Chen, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here either. Maria was crying. Doctor, thank you, not just for the surgery, but for 15 years ago, too. Sarah was crying, too. I should thank you. I was wrong for 15 years. I blamed myself. Thanks to Marcus, I learned the truth. So what happened that night? Marcus asked. After I died. Sarah took a breath. After you died, I was very sad. I decided to study medicine that night. I blamed myself for not being able to save you. I thought, maybe if I was a better doctor. So I'm the reason you became a doctor? Yes? You made me a doctor, Marcus. Marcus smiled. Then we both saved each other. You saved my life. I saved your career. Marcus's story spread quickly through the hospital. This miraculous connection between doctor and patient touched everyone. Nurses, other doctors, hospital staff, everyone wanted to hear this story. Dr. Chen, the head nurse said, this story is incredible. Should we give it to the media? No, Sarah said. This should stay between us. It's very personal. But the story had already spread. In hospital corridors, in the doctor's lounge, in the cafeteria, everyone was talking. Doctor operates on the patient she saved 15 years later. Miracle from Afghanistan. Doctor operates on her own medic career. Sarah was uncomfortable with this attention, but at the same time, she was happy. Because 15 years of guilt had ended. Marcus's recovery was quick. The ICD device worked perfectly. His heart beat regularly, blood circulation normal. A few days later, he was ready to be discharged. Doctor, Marcus said during the final check, I want to ask you something. Ask away. What did you experience after Afghanistan? Was it difficult? Sarah thought. Yes, it was difficult. I had PTSD. I felt so guilty thinking I lost you. Medical school was hard. Those memories never left me alone. I experienced the same thing. I lived with PTSD for 15 years. But there's something you need to know. What's that? In every difficult moment, I remembered you. That young girl who fought for me. You were my source of hope. Thanks to you, I held on to life. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Marcus, now don't feel guilty. You're a hero. You're a lifesaver. 15 years ago and today. From that day on, Dr. Sarah Chen changed. She no longer hid her past, didn't conceal her Army medic career. She told patients about her own experiences, showed special empathy, especially to veteran patients. Hospital administration, Sarah said to the chief of staff, I want to start a program. What kind of program? A special program for veteran patients, to better understand soldiers with PTSD, because I'm like them too. Great idea, but such a program needs budget. I'll do it voluntarily. This is a personal mission for me. A month later, the Veterans Heart Program started at Cedars-Sinai, under Dr. Sarah Chen's leadership. Not just heart diseases, but a holistic approach to all health problems of veterans. Marcus became the program's first volunteer. He shared his experiences with other veterans, gave them hope. Friends, Marcus would say at support group meetings, I died 15 years ago, but I'm here, because a doctor didn't give up on me. You don't give up either. The program was very successful. Veterans from all over Los Angeles started coming, not just for treatment, but to be understood. Dr. Chen, a veteran said, you're one of us. That's why we trust you. Months passed. A strong bond formed between Marcus's family and Sarah. David started calling Sarah Aunt Sarah. "Aunt Sarah," David said one day, "how old were you when you saved my dad in Afghanistan?" "I was 19 years old, David." "Wow, I'm 12 years old. You were only 7 years older. You're very brave." "You'll be brave too, David. You're your father's son." Maria also loved Sarah very much. "Sarah, you're part of our family now. Without Marcus, we wouldn't exist either." "I love you all very much too. Thanks to Marcus, I made peace with my past." As the Veterans Program grew, other stories emerged. Other patients Sarah treated turned out to be people she knew from Afghanistan. David Thompson, former pilot. Sarah had treated him after a helicopter crash in 2009. Jennifer Walsh, former nurse. They had worked at the same base, took shifts together. Robert Kim, former engineer. He was one of the soldiers who set up Sarah's tent. "How is this possible?" Sarah asked Marcus. "This can't all be coincidence." "It's not coincidence," Marcus said. "It's destiny. You came to Los Angeles for this reason, to find us." A year later, Sarah developed a big idea. She wanted to find all the soldiers she worked with in Afghanistan, bring them together. "Marcus, how can we do this?" "We can talk to Veterans Affairs. They have records." After months of research, they found 32 of the 47 soldiers in Sarah's unit. Some lived in different cities, some in other countries. They organized 2009 Afghanistan 3rd Medical Unit Reunion in Los Angeles at Cedars-Sinai. That day, 32 veterans gathered in the hospital conference hall. For the first time in 15 years, Sarah remembered each of them individually. "Friends," Sarah said, 15 years ago we were a family. Today we're still a family." Everyone was crying, because that day they reunited not just with old friends, but with their former selves. At the reunion, Sarah gave a speech, the most important speech of her life. "Friends, when I returned from Afghanistan 15 years ago, I felt lost. The marks war left on me, the patience I thought I lost, the guilt I carried. But today I understand that we were never lost. We just couldn't find each other. When I found Marcus again, I realized we're still that family. We still protect each other. This hospital, this program, this reunion, they're all continuations of those days. We're still medics. We still heal each other." Everyone in the hall gave a standing ovation, because Sarah had told not just her own story, but everyone's story. After the reunion, the media discovered the story. Los Angeles Times, CNN, ABC News. Everyone wanted to do the Afghanistan medic becomes doctor, reunites with patient story. Sarah was hesitant at first, but Marcus convinced her. "Sarah, this story will give hope to others, other veterans, other medics. They probably feel guilty like you did. They need to know too." Sarah decided to talk to the media, but with one condition. The focus of the story wouldn't be herself, but all veterans. Sarah's story was broadcast on national television on 60 Minutes. America loved this story, because this wasn't just a rescue story, it was a healing story. After the program, Sarah received thousands of letters from veterans, their families, other medics. "Dr. Chen, your story gave me hope. I've been feeling guilty for 10 years too. Now I can forgive myself. My son is a medic in Afghanistan. I'll show him your story." Sarah read every letter, replied as much as possible. A publishing house offered Sarah a book deal, an autobiography called The Medic Who Became a Doctor. "I don't know," Sarah told Marcus. "This is very personal." "But necessary," Marcus said. "You'll give a gift not just to yourself, but to all veteran medics." Sarah decided to write the book, but she wrote not just her own story, but the stories of all the veterans she found. The book became a bestseller. Because this wasn't just a war book, it was a hope book. Sarah's success wasn't just media success. She was also recognized in the medical field. She received an award from the American Heart Association. She received an honorary doctorate from UCLA. But her most important success was the nationwide spread of the Veterans Heart Program. Now, there were these programs in 15 states. Dr. Chen, the hospital chief of staff, said, "We're offering you the position of chief of cardiothoracic surgery." "I accept," Sarah said, "but I have one condition." "What's that?" "The veterans program must become hospital policy. Not just cardiology, all departments should be veteran-friendly." Agreed. Marcus had also become a new person. His heart was healthy, his PTSD under control, happy with his family. He started working as a counselor at Veterans Affairs. "Marcus," Maria said one evening, "you've changed so much." "How so?" "Happier, more hopeful, like you've been reborn?" "Because I was reborn, Maria, twice. Once thanks to Sarah in Afghanistan, once more thanks to her here." David also noticed his father's change. "Dad, you don't have nightmares anymore." "No, son, because I'm now at peace with my past, thanks to Sarah." As David grew up, he started saying he wanted to study medicine. "Why medicine, David?" Sarah asked. "I want to be like you and my dad. I want to save people." "Very good goal, but medicine isn't easy." "I know, but you could do it at 19 in Afghanistan. I can do it too." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Of course you can, and I'll help you." When David finished high school and started medical school, Sarah became his mentor. He was accepted to UCLA medical school, just like Sarah. "David," Sarah said on the first day of class, "medicine isn't just science, it's also humanity. Don't forget that." "Aunt Sarah, you're the best example for me, both in science and humanity." During David's medical education, Sarah taught him everything. Not just medical knowledge, but how to empathize with patients, how to talk to veterans, what PTSD was. "This isn't just medical education," David would tell his friends. "This is life education." In 2025, Sarah was 42 years old, Assistant Chief of Staff at Cedars-Sinai, one of the country's most recognized heart surgeons. The Veterans Heart Program was now implemented in 25 states, 50 hospitals. Marcus was 48 years old, senior counselor at VA, coordinator of PTSD programs nationwide. His heart worked perfectly, his life was wonderful. David was 22 years old, medical school senior. He said he wanted to be a medic in Afghanistan. "David," Sarah said, "are you sure?" "War is very difficult." "I'm sure, Aunt Sarah, you and Dad did it. I'll do it too. The circle must be completed." That year, a big event was organized at the hospital. 15 years of Veterans Heart Program celebration. 15 years had passed since Sarah's first Marcus surgery. Hundreds of people were in the hall. Veterans, doctors, nurses, patients, families. Everyone who saw the effects of that surgery that changed Sarah's life. Sarah gave a speech. 15 years ago, there was a patient in this operating room, Marcus Rodriguez. I thought I lost him in Afghanistan. But that day I learned that we never really lose anyone. We just find them in different places. Marcus made me a doctor. I healed him. He healed me. David is carrying us into the future. This is a circle, a never-ending circle. Marcus also spoke. "Sarah, you didn't just heal the wounds in my heart. You healed the wounds in my soul. Being here 15 years later, being able to say these things, my son becoming a doctor, all of this is the result of your courage at 19 inches. David also spoke. "I'm my father's son, Aunt Sarah's student. I will continue this legacy. In Afghanistan, here, wherever needed. Because I learned that healing isn't just medicine, it's also love." After the event ended, Sarah, Marcus, and David sat in the hospital garden. They looked at their 15-year journey. "Sarah," Marcus said, "that night in Afghanistan when you said, 'Don't leave me,' you were actually saying the same thing to me. Don't leave me. Neither of us left each other." "And we never will," Sarah said, "because some bonds are stronger than death, deeper than time." David smiled. "And they're passed on to new generations." Sarah looked at her operating room. The day she first saw Marcus, her world had changed. Now miracles happened every day in the same operating room. Every veteran patient, every healing story, every saved life. "You know, Marcus," Sarah said, "you weren't just my patient. You were my teacher." "How so?" "You taught me that no effort goes to waste. I blame myself for struggling 6 hours that night in Afghanistan, but you showed me that those 6 hours kept you alive. No effort, no love, no sacrifice goes to waste. Marcus nodded. And you taught me that every ending has a new beginning. I died that night, but I was reborn. Here, with you, with this family. As we end this story, Dr. Sarah Chen is still at Cedars-Sinai, still operating, still healing veterans, but she's no longer alone. Marcus is still alive, still strong. His heart works perfectly with the device Sarah implanted. David is about to finish medical school, preparing to go to Afghanistan. 3 generations, 1 story, a medic, a patient, a future doctor. All people who save each other, heal each other, love each other. Sarah, Marcus said last week, how do you think this story will end? Sarah smiled. It won't end, Marcus. This story never ends, because love never ends, healing never ends, hope never ends. Thank you for listening to this story. Do you have silent heroes like Sarah and Marcus around you? People who save each other, heal each other? Share their stories in the comments, because every healing story is valuable, every rescue memory is important. Don't forget to subscribe, because stories like these should be remembered, shared, kept alive. See you in the next video. And remember, sometimes the greatest miracles happen at the most unexpected moments, in the most familiar places.